What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches back with another video. And would y'all believe me if I told y'all this is a reconstruction, boo? This is what my client is working with. She's a long-time regular of mine, and I'm about to show y'all how I hook her up and exactly what happened. Don't be scared. I know it looks scary, but don't be scared, okay? Before we get into it, don't forget sometime during this video to check the description. I have a link to where you guys can check out my one-on-ones. I do have those available for those of all skill levels, advanced or beginner. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you like my content. In case y'all didn't know, like 90% of y'all who watch my channel actually are unsubscribed, and if you're not subscribed, then that means you are not getting notified of when I post. So here we go. I am going ahead by starting on prepping. The service that she has booked would be a basic acrylic reconstructive pedicure. Basic meaning literally no scrubs, no frillic stuff. Acrylic meaning acrylic on all 10, reconstructive meaning the big toes need reconstruction, pedicure meaning pedicure, just to break it down for you guys. So this particular client has come to me in the past, like I mentioned. I did recently post a video of her toenails, so if this looks familiar, it's because it is. I will link that somewhere in this video so you guys can get a better understanding of what happened to her. I will quickly just explain the circumstances that she has faced over the past 2 years. She has had 2 separate toenail removals on both toes. So both toenails got removed twice, basically because of an injury. The first time was about 1.5 years ago. The second time was last year. She dropped a generator on her feet, which obviously wreaked havoc. Now, because she has two instances of traumatic injury on both toenails, what has happened is it has basically stunted her growing pattern and her growth rate and things of that nature. So as you see me prepping, you will see that I have to really kind of get in there, and I have to move her toes a certain way, because what has happened and why I basically made her take a break in January, because she came in January. I noticed that when she came for her soak off in February, when she came for her soak off in February, I noticed her cuticle area was growing in way flatter and just way lower than the rest. And at first, I was concerned because she did hit one of her toenails again, and she said it did really hurt and stuff. So I told her, make sure nothing's going on. There was some inflammation and things like that. So we're completing the prep process. This is just Young Nails Protein Bond, and I'm going to show you guys the color that we're working with, which this is from the Dolls collection. Y'all already know it's not polished, it's not nothing. So here we go. So basically, due to the way that her new growth was coming in, which was very minimal, and I honestly had to maneuver the toenail around to even see it, I told her, go to your podiatrist, make sure that everything is still growing okay, because he did have a predictive growth pattern that she would see, and they had hopes that it would flatten out. But when I first saw her, because I hadn't seen her since the summer until she came in January, when I first saw her, I was concerned for real that this is probably how you're gonna look. And the news is, per the podiatrist, this is probably how it's gonna look. And I mean, I don't like to say that I be right about certain things, but I kind of low-key be right. I'm not a podiatrist. I can't diagnose anyone with anything, but I can tell you that I see so much damage on toenails, and just based on what people tell me and just from what I can personally see, sometimes I can kind of predict what's going on. But I like them to go back and see their podiatrist or their doctor, whoever, so they can get confirmation and so we can both understand. Because again, I'm not a doctor, so I can only make my own predictions and assumptions, but it has to be obviously verified for the doctor. So that's pretty much what's going on. I was nervous that because the cuticle area was so low, it would cause the enhancement to become top heavy, but the doctor did say acrylic is not going to get in the way of the growth pattern that she now has. Meaning, again, she is probably going to be stuck with half a toenail just in a stump form, just like this, which she's really bummed about. But I mean, it kind of is what it is. Okay, so as you guys can see, the first bead that I laid down, which is pretty standard for me personally, the way that I do my reconstructions, is going to be a bead that's not too wet, not too dry. I lay it on top of the stump area, and then I go ahead and use the body of my brush and the belly of my brush to go ahead and bring it down. Now, once I do that, I make sure it's tucked all the way into the cuticle area, into the side areas where there is no nail, making sure everything is pretty much attached to the stump. And then I will go ahead and worry about disguising the thickness and the color at this point. So you guys can see that it takes honestly a lot of skill to do this. I know people do different things. I personally will never file anyone's toenails down to make them thinner, because that will compromise the quality of what toenail we do have, as well as the longevity of the enhancement. And I personally do not believe in sacrificing the health of someone's toenail just for the look. Now, you guys will notice that there might be a little bit of bulkiness at the cuticle area, but honestly, listen, it's a give and take, you know what I'm saying? So per her podiatrist, she does have the okay to get these enhancements. I have told her several times to check in with him over the past year of me even just working on her feet in general. So on this toe, a lot of that, well, you guys can't see the flakiness on her actual skin, but a lot of that discoloration on her actual skin, the doctor did say it will flake away, just because that was like, basically the trauma was so deep in like exactly what happened like with the generator, that it caused blood to like pile up against the like right under her skin. So basically what I'm touching is not like blood itself, but like because it's under the skin, and then basically that skin will flake off and take some of that discoloration with it. Now, I will say my client does have extremely high hopes that her toenails will, number one, grow back normal, and number two, the darkness will go away, which is why I chose this color to disguise some of that darkness, because she is really sad. She is a person that really likes French tip, and the last time we were doing her toenails before this second injury, the darkness wasn't as bad, and I be trying to tell her in the nicest way possible, like, girl, I'm gonna be honest, you are gonna have to come to grips that this may not get any better, and it may continue to stay like this. But at the same time, I do tell her, you know, it's okay to remain hopeful, but we're not gonna remain, you know, delusional or in denial, because at the end of the day, what we see might be the full extent to it, especially with two, you know, very traumatic injuries that also led to toenail removals. Okay, so that's basically like 4 instances of trauma, because every time you get a toenail removed, that is trauma that can also change your growth pattern and cause your toenail to possibly not come back. Okay, so in this particular instance, I did just kind of coach her and talk to her about the fact that if this doesn't grow back anymore, then we will be on a different type of schedule with your toenails. Because if the big toe no longer grows but the other ones do, then that means there is going to be a certain point to where like your maintenance is going to be a little bit different, if that makes sense. So at this point now I'm working on the discoloration aspect. So I do lay a bead closer to the cuticle area. Again, it is going to cause some bulkiness if you look from the side, because I'm not going to make the whole toenail the exact same thickness as the cuticle area, otherwise it just won't look natural. So it does kind of take some skill to disguise a lot of this, and then you have to think about, when I go back and file, am I going to be filing too low? So as you guys can see, as I turn to that angle, you see it is not exactly all the same flatness, but I pretty much lay the acrylic in a way that when I file, it is going to be a smoother transition. Okay, so I do want to say I definitely appreciate all the support of everybody who has subscribed recently, and those of you even who are not subscribed but just watch my videos, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind comments. If I'm not able to respond to any of your comments, you guys, I have been overtaken with a bunch of like hater comments in the past couple of months, if you know what I'm saying. The toenail videos that I had posted, basically a short, it has like a couple 100,000 views on it, and everyone is just basically calling me a money hungry pig, that I need to stop harming my clients, that I need to be more worried about people getting cared for by a doctor than trying to make people look nice, and how I'm just working on all types of fungus. So I do just want to reiterate, you guys, I do not work over fungus at all. And again, most of the girls that have this type of damage or have had toenail removals, they have a podiatrist or they have a doctor who they keep in contact with. And I will assure you, the minute that some of these girls see something is not going right, they will go. And I'm the first person to send someone to a podiatrist, to a doctor, so they can make sure they are infection free. I have worked with people who have fungus, like in a pedicure setting where we do have an autoclave, which if you don't know what that is the only way to get rid of, you know, bacterial and fungal spores. If someone tells you otherwise, then they are lying. Okay, there's a whole process, which is why I don't work on fungus, because I don't have an autoclave, but that's neither here nor there. So just to let you guys know, I don't do any of that stuff. So anyways, if you leave me a comment and I don't get around to it like ever, honestly, I apologize, but that is the reason why. Okay, but I'm never gonna stop doing toes, and I know that what I'm doing is helping people. and I do have a lot of okays from doctors to be doing this. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with the filing process. Now with the filing and shaping, this is crucial because if you don't do this correctly, what's gonna happen is your enhancements are not gonna last, and if the enhancements start to lift, especially on a reconstruction, that could be detrimental to the toenail they already have, because any lifting or peeling or, you know, stubbing or anything can cause what toenail they do have to kind of be in disarray once again. So you guys can see filing in the cuticle area, she does have some dipping. As I mentioned, it's not the same as what you would think of a regular cuticle area. And then on top of that, there is no, you guys can see from the side, it's kind of way thicker at the cuticle area in a way, because it starts, if there is no buildup from the natural cuticle to the rest of the nail no more. It really is just a tucked away little thing, and then just immediately, you know, the stump area. So basically what I'm doing is strategically filing, making sure the shape is all good, trying not to file too low. And you guys can already see some of the discoloration, that white part in the front is showing a little bit, and I'll show you later on like what I do about that. So I'm basically using my hand file to strategically file, so that way it's not too bulky, but also we can get a really good shape. Now you guys probably saw during the process of when I was laying acrylic, I do like to lift up the tips a little bit. In the way, the reason why I do that is for this right here. You see how I can look under, and as we can lift the enhancement, because it is only attached to one area, like about halfway of the nail. So you want to make sure that there is space underneath. A lot of people like to tell me that leaving space underneath the nail is going to lead to moisture and fungus, but if you don't leave space, what's going to happen is there's not going to be any way that they can clean out or dry out that area at all, because even in a real toenail, moisture is going to get under there. Like, that's not the issue. The issue is moisture going to be getting trapped, because there is like literally no type of airflow anywhere at all. And granted, with this much acrylic, you're not going to be able to lift up the whole nail, but at least doing in the front area is going to give, number one, a way more natural look, and number two, it's just the grow out. For some people who do have nails that grow out, you need to make sure that it's going to be comfortable. Okay, so these are techniques that I have learned for myself along the way, just trial and error, and what I like to do. I know everyone does everything different, but as you guys can see, I can see underneath this enhancement. You see what I'm saying? I can see underneath that enhancement. That's personally how I like it, and I don't have anyone that has come back with fungus or any complaints or anything like that. So I mean, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but you see me going back and forth on both sides to make sure that it is straight. This enhancement is not long at all. When people have this sort of situation to where it's kind of like a stump and it doesn't grow very long or at all, I do like to make sure that we keep it at an appropriate length, which is going to be a more what I call natural length. It's not going to be hanging over the nail at all, and we just like to make sure that it's not going to get caught on anything. So at this point, I'm still shaping and filing. Like I say, this is the most important part. You got to get in all those nooks and crannies to make sure everything is sealed. Even if there's areas with no nail, you still need to do this, so that way the acrylic is not having a lot of gaps or anything like that, which is why you see me kind of going underneath in a way with my file. Now you will notice in one area, I think on, yeah, right here, I guess, in that area where there's discoloration, I did go ahead and add another bead after filing. It's okay if you have to go back in and do this. Now, I'm not recommending that, you know, you guys go ahead and start doing reconstructions, especially if you're not licensed. And I don't say that to bash anybody. I literally just say that because there is so many things that can go wrong and so many ways you can get hurt. But if you are going to do it, just know it's okay if you have to go back in and file and back and forth. This whole service from start to finish takes me only about an hour and a half, I believe, and I hope you guys enjoy the results. This is once again the final result. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.